Okay, so we are going to officially start our notes. I'm going to turn the lights down so it's a little easier to see, and we're not blinded by the light. Economics and in general, like we had a very very brief introduction before, like um, last week, was kind of like life, right? So decisions we make and why we make them, but there are reasons why we make decisions, um, and the big reason is this very very first concept that we're going to deal with, and that concept is the concept of scarcity. Okay, you guys want one light back up? It's still kind of dark. Is this okay, or you guys want it down? Leave it up. Okay, so you can still see the paper. I just want to make sure. All right, we'll leave. That's good. I kind of like not having any of the. All right, so scarcity in general is the economic problem. Everything that we deal with in economics revolves around this situation, right? And we're getting into this a little more in detail here, but scarcity and shortage are two different things. Shortage, I walk into the store, like you would hear by any chance caught that there was not a lot of salad available during Christmas time. Anybody see that when you're in the grocery store by any chance? Okay, I'm not sure why I was looking for a couple times. There was no lettuce. Like there was random ones, and they even had like a sign out that there was a supply shortage, and they were trying to get the deliveries. I don't know if there was an E. coli breakout or anything like that, but there, like you walked into Giant Eagle, and the whole section of area where the lettuce is, there was like maybe three or four versions of lettuce. Yeah.
There was a recall on a lot of foods.
Okay. All right. So, but that was what 2 weeks ago, 2.5, something like that. Now I went in the other day to get some stuff, and it was almost all stocked. Still a couple things here and there, like the Giant Eagle brand wasn't there, but they had the name brand version was available. So temporary, right? But scarcity is a constant thing. We're always dealing with trying to make decisions. You guys are in a position where you guys have to make some decisions here soon regarding college, work, 2-year college. Do I want to go into a vocational program and continue this? Do I want to go into college and follow up on other stuff? Um, that is a scarcity problem because you can only do a couple different things. Like you could do full time college, right? But then if you do that, what are you going to potentially not be able to do if you're full time college? Yeah, work is going to be very, very scarce, right? So I can, but I have to find some hours that I'm going to have available. That's not going to kill me, right? If you're going to go to work, that's awesome. That's your choice to go down that path of going right into the vocational program. What are you going to now have to look at potentially not having because you're working? What's that? Yeah, and then we'll get to this a little more. But there's a trade-off, right? I'm giving up one thing to get the other. Now, I did talk to somebody yesterday, and this is something to keep your eyes open for, especially if you want to go into the vocational field. I have a student that I had graduated last year. He's working at the Medina jailhouse, for the lack of better terms. But he said if he waits, I think it's 2 more months or 3 more months, he qualifies for full-time employment, and then they'll actually help pay for his schooling. Right? So there are locations where you guys can get a job, and they'll say, okay, as long as you stay here, we'll help pay for your training. We'll do some more stuff like that. So there's other variations, but again, we are constantly trying to figure out what to do. Right? The economic problem, we want and we want and we want and we want, right? But I don't have the resources to get everything I want. Right? I happen to. Did anybody see that on YouTube? They have where it could be on Instagram or TikTok, the new advertisement for the new Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Right? Who in here knows the Fresh Prince of Bel Air with Will Smith, the original one? Okay. So I'm gonna let you guys finish writing this, and I'm gonna show you guys the two for those who don't know what I'm talking about, because there's a very 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 big difference between the TV version and this. Is it a series that they're doing, or is it a movie? It looked like a series on Peacock, I think. Or something. Yeah. So they're trying to they're trying to do the whole Will Smith, but a whole different angle on it. So like at the beginning of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the original one, it's more of kind of a got into a tiff in the neighborhood, and so I went to live with my auntie and uncle in Bel Air, and then he gets in the taxi, and it's kind of a fun little thing. Well, the new version kind of shows a little more of a serious, like he got into a fight, he had a gun, and there's a gangster that's potentially going out for him, and so they need to get him out of Philly to protect him from being killed. But so it's a lot more intense. So let's see if I can show you the difference, and then I'll jump back into this, the economic problem, because it hopefully will make sense.
Did not care. In both launch cases, they were back up on the course in like 5 minutes. Here's the slow-mo and see if you can spot the two critical things he does to make sure he lands feet down.
No, I don't want that. And that's the guy that does the glitter bomb. Did I show you guys that one last week? He does a squirrel, like Olympic type thing to get to the nuts. It's kind of fun. Why is this now? Of course, it's going to be slow on me. History. Fresh Prince.
I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days. Chewing out max and relaxing on cool and all shooting some b-ball outside of the school. When a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air." I begged and pleaded with her.
Right, so it's a lot more fun, jovial, right? Let's see if I can find the new one. You'll see right away it's a different feel altogether.
This time we're trying to make you forget who you are and where you came from. Don't let it do that. Damn!
Jeffrey Thompson, house manager.
Well, Bill.
10 years is a long time.
Let me show you around.
Where the dimes at?
Hillary. Let's go find you something fit for a friend.
What do you think?
I made you love.
Yo, Uncle Phil.
Glad you stayed for talk later.
Yo, is this really baby Ashley?
You're a long way from home,
Oh, Tim, how you been?
You know, thriving. I hope one day we can talk about why you're really here.
Do you know why I'm here from Philly?
Scrapping the ball court. The nasty.
Who do that? What they do?
Now some bad man from Philly want to deal with you. Went mountains to get you here. So here's the story. You came to Bel Air for a better age.
So it's a different feel completely. The first one was kind of a fun, jovial one. When I was looking at, if you guys remember the original series, the mansion that he lived in was what the size of, this was like the family room. And then he walks into that mansion right there. That was what kind of jumped in my head. Sorry, kind of went off on a little tangent there. But unlimited wants, limited resources. Think about all the stuff that we would love to have. Think about the new car or a new truck or a new phone or a new job, right? But I'm limited. I can only do so much, right? a different school, a different education, a different major, a different program. I want a um, different living space. So we're always looking for something. However, as we all know, I can't have everything. Right? We're always playing around with that. So it forces us to make choices. This is the key to scarcity. You are constantly being forced to make choices. So did anybody go to get gas this morning? No one got gas. Anybody plan on getting gas, but then you ran out of time? Okay, because time is a big one. Like scarcity for time, that's huge. Or I didn't have enough money. Like I had a couple years ago, the prices of gas are kind of getting close to where it was. I think we were close to $4 a gallon. This would have back, I think it was like 2010, 2011-ish, somewhere in there. The prices were super high. And I remember I was driving home and there was a student in a truck, a big dual tank truck on the side of the road. They didn't have enough gas. They ran out of gas. And then I saw her the next day. When I saw her on the road, somebody was walking back with a gas tank, probably just enough to get her home or to the gas station. But the next day I was talking to her, she's like, well, I just didn't have enough money. And so I was hoping I could make it home on, but I just didn't. But again, that was all scarcity. And I'm trying to figure out how to pay my bills. I'm trying to figure out how to do this, right? So it's a constant thing. So anything we deal with, and then the other thing too is our resources. We're going to talk about those here in a second. We're always trying to figure out what resources to use. In regards to scarcity also, we're also defining what I need and what I want. Right? Those are big, huge ones. Sometimes we get rid of what I want because I need this. Right? Who in here has had extra money in their pocket and you buy yourself I think is there a candy bar sale going on right now? I think one of the labs is doing candy bars. I saw somebody with a box. And regardless, you'll have $5. You're like, I'll buy you a candy bar. That's fine. I got a little extra cash, not a problem for your friend, or you'll get one for now and one for later, right? Or you're like, no, I only have enough money to buy something for lunch, okay, right? I got $1. I'm gonna get myself a can of pop, right? Or I'm gonna get myself. What else can you get in the line for $1? Nothing. Right? The lovely inflation too. We'll talk about that later on as well. And then of course, I talked about this already. Scarcity does not mean shortage. Shortage is temporary. Scarcity, you will deal with that the rest of your life. No, trust me on that one. All right. Now, for the next thing I wanted to get into, we're going back to the resources because they're limited. So, but what are the resources we're looking for? The first resource is actually an entrepreneur. So the entrepreneurs, these are the people that kind of take all sorts of resources and put them together and create, right? And you guys are living in a time where we don't even think about it, but to imagine what Jeff Bezos had to do to create Amazon. You go back to the 80s when he first started, right? It was an online shopping. It was one of the first ones that was kind of really started, and then he kind of did a couple experiments. He did a couple things that were okay. They had the Kindle. That was like the first. Does everybody still have a Kindle at their house? Like the original one where it looks like paper and you can kind of swipe, right? I have one. It's actually in a drawer, not charged, but it's there. So I can claim that. My brother-in-law got it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get." So they got it for me for Christmas, which was really nice for probably about a year, maybe. And then right around then was when the Kindle Fire came out, and it was color, and it was cheap, super cheap. And I think that was the turning point. Anybody remember how much they were charging for that first Kindle Fire way back when?
Wasn't it around $50?
Yeah, it was like $99. Yeah. It was the cheapest tablet out there, and everyone was like, "How in the world is Bezos doing this?" And then you look at the numbers, and he was losing money on every single sale of the original Kindle Fire. But here's the kicker: what did you have to get with the Kindle Fire in order to have access to all the stuff Amazon was providing? Subscription. A 1-year subscription was $99. And that is where you got everyone. Because because then he got the money there. Now he was over the top in regards to memberships, and then of course there was the shopping now, because now you had access to shopping, and then they started to do deliveries a couple years later. And then did anybody by any chance have those little buttons at the house where you literally press the button, it was connected to the Wi-Fi, it would send like an invoice to Amazon, and you automatically get something like it was like for Tide, or if you had like cat products, you just press the button, and it was like an oval thing, and it would automatically send the signal to Amazon saying send me more. Right now you can do it recurring purchases and all those other things, but all of a sudden people were starting to shop online, and so they got some more money there, and then of course it expanded a little bit more, and then you started getting the 1-day shipping, and then do you guys know that Amazon is now, I want to say it's the second, or I'd have to look it up just to confirm. I think it's the first or second largest delivery corporation in the United States now. It used to be, of course, the post office, and then UPS, and then FedEx, and then Amazon was kind of down there. But now Amazon has more delivery trucks and delivery vehicles, or delivery people, than I believe it's UPS and FedEx. I don't think combined, but it's one of the largest ones now. And then they got into they're making their own videos, right? Now they have their own movies, they have their own TV series. And they were following the trend of Netflix. Netflix was the one that started that. Right? So you just kind of see all this stuff happening. And that is the entrepreneurs, right? Well, we're going to take this, we're going to play with it, we're going to go down this road and try this and this and this, develop these new ideas. It's just amazing. Who in here does their shopping via ads that pop up on either TikTok or Instagram for you guys now? It's one of those weird little connections too, right? So Amazon had to have talked with Instagram. Netflix probably had to have talked with Instagram, YouTube, all those different companies, because then if you guys have ever gone shopping on Amazon and you're hooked into the accounts, and all of a sudden you're on Instagram and you're swiping up, or even, and I find this with TikTok too, you swipe up and like the 7th or 8th one is an ad that you were looking at on Amazon for that very product. Right? To create that type of technology. The other one is the listening to us while we're speaking. Right. So the one thing Apple does have is you have to say a certain phrase for your phone to respond to you or your watch to respond to you. Right. Versus Amazon, which is constantly just listening to you. Right? So you don't have to say Alexa. It's waiting for you to speak. So it just keeps on listening to you. Right? So it's one of those little awkward little things. Has anybody ever caught that? Where you're talking about something and then you go on your phone and all of a sudden the thing you were talking about is now an ad on your Instagram account? Or I've logged into Amazon and it's right there. Like I was talking about getting shoes the other day, and I got on Amazon and there were shoes as my first choice of things to look at. Absolutely crazy. But again, these are original ideas. There's a couple that I came up with that I found that I thought were really interesting. But I want to finish this real quick and then I'll jump to the videos. The entrepreneur is going to take 3 different types of factors. So those resources we're talking about, land is one, which is natural. Labor is you guys, me, the workforce. And then capital is all of our tools, things that we use to make stuff. Okay, but the entrepreneur is the one that takes all those things and says, I'm going to take that thing and that, and those people will put them together and create this thing. So this one's an old one. It did not happen, but it was an interesting concept until, like, when I'm looking at this, who here has an Apple Watch or a watch that's intertwined with their phones? Okay, so that now I just press the button and I can talk to my phone. So that's kind of where they were going with this. So it kind of, because of the way they made the Apple Watch and all the other versions of the new watches, this became obsolete. But it was an interesting idea. Let's see if the videos are working. Yes.
What started off as a spin-off device from Samsung's experimental C-Lab arm is now a full-fledged company that has launched a device called Signal. The $249 smart strap from Imnodal allows you to listen to your calls with the tip of your finger. It works by transmitting vibrations through this body connection unit that sits right under the strap. The audio vibrations travel up your hand and skin all the way to the tip of your finger. Once you touch the inside of your ear, the sound is amplified and you can hear your call. When an incoming call comes in, you'll feel the device vibrate and it will light up. And to answer the call, you just press this button and then stick your finger in your ear and you can start talking or listening. This strap connects to your phone via Bluetooth, and you can also attach your regular watch face, an Apple Watch, or an Android Wear watch, including the Samsung Gear 3. The device has a 3.5-hour talk time and charges in about 1 hour. It comes in 6 colors and is expected to be available starting March 2018.
So, just one of those things I came across and I thought was interesting. But think about how awkward that would be now. Because I can understand, for those who aren't aware, the bones are what it vibrates on the bone, and it goes right. And if you guys have ever done that, where you like push that little, what's this piece of cardboard called? Anybody know? Whatever it is, you push it in, and then everything kind of gets dull, but you can still hear. That's the idea, and it makes at the time it's a good idea, and then no one can hear the call either, right? So it would just be you listening to the call, but that would be kind of awkward now. Just put your finger in your ear, and then if you were like talking with somebody and they're like, yeah, Milo's right here. You want to talk to Milo? Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So you go down a whole other avenue there. Let's see what this one is. So this is like going back to the entrepreneurial idea. This is Natalie Sidesurf. Used to be Natalie. Oh gosh, I can't think of her last name, but I coached her years ago, and she's a Brunswick graduate. Went to Ohio State, and she has her own cake shop in Texas. She was actually, if you watch any of the Food Network, sometimes she's a judge for some of the bakery stuff. But she's made a name for herself. She's got a couple. I'll show you some of her cakes she's made. But this is just a small, again, an entrepreneur idea.
A lot of people are bakers that then do sculpted cakes, but instead I'm an artist who started doing sculpted cakes. Sugar, flour, eggs, all these materials, they start out as scratch ingredients. It's this really cool process. You turn them into a cake, and then you turn them into a cake sculpture, and then everybody eats it. Having that attitude and that kind of, that art background, I see myself as an artist first and a baker second. Baking is absolutely artistic, so they really go hand in hand. It's really great to do both. Before I started cake, I gather as many images as possible of, in this case, a T-Rex. So I'm looking up toys and models. I'm looking up, dinosaurs in movies. So I gather all that information, and then I come up with my design and how I want the dinosaur to kind of feel. So here we have the unpainted T-Rex. This is all covered in chocolate. There is a cake board that comes right through here, and this back leg actually has that rod that is holding that cake board up. Connected to the cake board is a wire that is going to go through for his tail and then come through to the head. While I was at Ohio State, my concentration was in drawing and painting. So it's funny because everybody always assumes it was sculpting. And I did do a lot of sculpting, but I mostly was doing painting. And I'm so happy I did because I think that's really what kind of, I want to say, like, brings them to life. You have to learn how to use material. Somebody can't just be like, this is how you do it. It's not that easy. You have to kind of get your hands on it and work with it. And I think that my education at Ohio State was just absolutely necessary and absolutely influences how I work with cake today and why I've had some successful moments.
And then she kind of goes on a little tangent, but I wanted to show you guys. I'll list these here in a second. Some of her other cakes, though, are really pretty crazy. Because here, I'll just bring this over and show it to you guys. Okay, so some of these are cakes. So that's a cake. That's Bruce Willis. That's a cake. That's a cake of herself. That steak is a cake. You guys know Breaking Bad. These are all. This is the first one when I saw that she was back in town. This is actually at the Home and Flower show at the IX Center. That was when I found out she was doing all this stuff. It was a big, huge cake. I'm trying to think if I can. That's a cake. That's actually really good. I'm impressed. Willie Nelson, Michael Scott, of course. Her wedding one was a really, I don't know, it's kind of creepy. LeBron. I don't know if I can find it. But she had her own TV series on the Food Network for just a little bit. But again, just original ideas, kind of cool. That's the entrepreneurial idea. Now, to give you guys an idea of one of the resources we were looking at, land is one of the biggest ones. It's where we get a lot of our stuff, right? So we're looking at things that come from nature that we haven't altered. And that's the big, huge key. Materials found in nature that people use to make things to provide services. We haven't changed them. So if I was talking about the water that you guys get from the tap, would that be a natural resource? Technically, no, because we've altered it. We've added fluoride. We've cleaned it. But if you were in the river and you were using the water to wash your clothes, then that would be a natural resource. Or if I'm using the water to push a turbine, that the water is a natural resource, right? Or if we're looking at lumber, okay? So air, when you think about all the stuff we get from oxygen, right? Sometimes when we look at the manufactured version of these things too, I always laugh because I take the air. What's the breakdown? Does anybody remember that from science class? It's like 35 or 40% oxygen, 20 or 30% carbon dioxide, and the rest is actually like I don't remember. It's like some awkward. So we're filtering a lot of that stuff, which is why in the hospitals they give you the pure oxygen because it's supposed to help you guys. I've never had pure oxygen. It's kind of a weird feeling. It's good, you like it, but it's like they actually I'm not sure if I've seen it around recently, but South Park Mall used to have an oxygen kiosk, so you could actually go up to and have a seat, and it was like flavored, so it was like pineapple, strawberry, whatever, and you'd sit down and you pay like $10 for 20 minutes, and you just put those little things in your nose and you breathe pure oxygen that's flavored. So water is a big one. I mean, think of all the stuff that we use water to do. Lumber was one I had already mentioned. Coal's a big one. And now they're looking at variations of coal. Petroleum. Petroleum, I don't know if you guys realize this, how much petroleum is in. It's in like almost everything we use. So your clothing is petroleum, your glasses petroleum, your contact petroleum, makeup petroleum, your shoelaces petroleum, either rubber petroleum, those chairs you guys are sitting in petroleum, any of your zippers, if you guys have any type of polyester blend mixed with your clothes, petroleum. Any type of synthetic anything, petroleum based. Think about the oil we use to cook things. That's petroleum. It's all sorts of different variations of it, right? So you have the different oils, you have the vegetable oils and you get that mostly from, of course, the vegetables and the sunflower seeds. But there's a petroleum-based idea behind that. And then, of course, the obvious ones, your gasoline, your cars, your lubricants, all those different things. So it's huge. Lots of stuff from petroleum. And then minerals. All of your medicines are, for the most part, variations of minerals. I was talking to my brother-in-law. He told me this a couple of years. They have now reached the limit of the combinations of minerals. So now all it is, so like for medicines and things that are available to us, with what we have available, they have reached the maximum possible variations of combining them into vitamins and things that we can get. So now they're playing around with the amounts
So this much magnesium, we're going to increase the magnesium. No, we're going to lower the magnesium. Yeah. And so any of our drugs too, think about all the materials that are in them. So all those minerals, lots of stuff. Anybody ever hear what? Well, there's a corporation, a series of corporations around the country, around the world, now that I think about it, that uses pure oxygen to get you to spend more money. And it was very, very generic. We have one in Cleveland. There's also one in Toledo and Columbus and Cincinnati. But they use pure oxygen to make you feel better, and therefore you spend more money. And you want to give a guess? Or is it too early? Casinos. A lot of casinos will put the filtration system in, or they'll pump in pure oxygen. Because if you feel good, well, I'll spend more money then. Awesome. And they keep it cold too. That's another one. If you guys ever go to a casino when you're illegal, they'll, like, I think you go at 18, but you can't drink until of course 21. But it's cold. Like, it's almost on the chilly factor where you're like shaking a little bit sometimes. There's also no sunlight coming in. So like, when they'll block off all sun, and then no clocks. So no clocks in the walls, and then they keep it really bright. Super, super bright. So it could be 4 a.m. and you think it's like 8 o'clock. Like, and the other, something in Vegas does this. If you're actively gambling, they give you free alcohol. Now, if you're walking around, you can't. No. But if you're sitting at a table and you're playing blackjack, they'll come up, and then hopefully they work off of tips as well. So, anyways, all right. Now, labor is kind of a fun one. And this will take us probably through the end of class. But labor, there are lots and lots and lots of different jobs. There's a couple that aren't listed that I'm just thinking of right now. I don't think I put them on there yet. And I'm sure you guys may have heard of different new versions of labor. But it's pretty much anything we do that provides us some sort of pay for our services, right? So I have a huge list. You guys pick and choose whichever ones you want to write down. If you think of other ones that you want to throw on your list, you're more than welcome to. There is a color expert. So if you guys have ever worked at home or been to Home Depot or Lowe's, or if you've ever gone to like a decoration or paintings or Sherwin-Williams, the colors we see are just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many. And here's the thing too. This is a weird one to think about. This one, the colors you guys see are not exactly the same colors I see. We all perceive colors slightly differently, right? So my red might be looking a little bit different than your red. So it's all a little. Railroad conductors still exist. Have anybody been on Amtrak? You guys ever get a chance? It's not bad. They have there's one from Cleveland to Chicago. It's a nice trip. It's not that expensive. There's just I think they said that it's a federally mandated or run agency, so you probably have to be masked the whole time. I'm not sure if they're requiring vaccines yet, but anyways, it's fun. Body painters. Body painters. That's one I thought was just interesting. Live mannequin or a statue. Has there ever been at Disney? They've got people that like work that. That's their job. And then of course you see people on the sides of their streets, or like Hollywood has a lot of people on the streets in New York. Some stores will actually hire people to stand outside in their outfits and act like mannequins or statues. Professional bridesmaid. So you're actually part of the party, and you actually help plan it, and you help everything keep going. So you're in the wedding. So you're not like on the side helping out as the party or the wedding planner. You're in it. Or they'll hire you to be the bridesmaid if they don't have enough people. Flavorist. This is huge. Pretty much any company that does anything food-wise is a flavorist. Have you ever heard of Freshly? There's HelloFresh. Now there's a whole bunch of new companies now that are doing like the home here. We'll send you a box of stuff and you cook it. That's all flavorists, right? Let's come up with some sort of, and then let's give them the directions, and then nurse, midwife. My brother, and this will come up more in conversation later, lives in the Netherlands, and it's very, very common over there. I think I know we have midwives here in the U.S., but typically you hear more about nurses. But when he was when they were pregnant, they had a midwife come to their house and actually walk around the house and help them set it up and get it all ready. Would come over, I think, every week during the pregnancy just to make sure, see how she was doing, and then was there for the delivery, all that stuff. Bounty hunter. Ethical hacker. So you actually would work for Facebook, and you would actually try to hack into Facebook, but Facebook is paying you to do it because they want to make sure they can find all of the errors in their system. Same thing, like a lot of casinos do that too. They'll actually hire former criminals that knew how to scam them, so they could figure out what they were doing. Video game testers, not as bad. I was looking this one up. If you get into this, you could actually make a nice. I'm not sure if I've ever seen six figures, but I've seen high, like 70,000, 80,000 a year, just playing video games and telling the company what's good, what's bad, what's working, what's not working. The water slide tester. That's a nice one. They also have roller coaster testers as well. That one makes me a little more nervous. Oh, I don't know. I think they both make me nervous. Because the water slide, nothing's holding you on, so you could launch yourself. But then a roller coaster, you're strapped into the mechanism that might not work. That makes me nervous too. Nail polish namer. Whoever has ever used nail polish probably knows those more than I do. I've only seen crayon colors. The names from that's awkward. Lego sculptors. Disney Imagineers. This is if you have any type of desire. Is anybody in here in the engineering program? Software, not software engineering. Engineering down in the not IT, the truck and diesel down that area. That's huge. Who here has ever seen the movie Avatar? Okay, so what they did was they designed, I'm not sure if it was in Florida or California. I think it was California. They created Avatar for the people to come see, but they had to figure out how to make everything float. Because if you guys remember the movie, they had the floating islands. So that was part of the whole Disney Imagineers. You're an actually engineer that's creating all these Disney things and magic. So, chocolate consultants. Especially if you like chocolate. Island caretaker. So this one is kind of a fun one because you live on an island, you take care of the island while they're not there, and then when they come back, you would either move off the island and go off someplace for the 2 or 3 months that they're in town, or you would live in a side house. So all you would do is keep it up, and then you would take the boat out for a ride to make sure that the fuel doesn't get stale and make sure everything's working. I think when I looked it up at the time, this was a couple years ago, it was $35,000 a year, $40,000. Professional sleeper. This is when the mattress companies will hire you to test out their mattresses. Netflix person. So you actually work for them, just watch series prior to and evaluate and tell them what they think or what you think. Google Trike or Street View team member. So they're always updating. So here's a tricycle. It's got a big, huge camera. Go ride your bike. Pickup artist instructor. That was an interesting one. You teach people. Has anybody watched the movie Hitch with Will Smith? It's an older movie, but that whole movie's about pickup artists. Professional mermaid. Came across that one a couple years ago. I don't have it on here. Has anyone ever heard of professional snugglers? They actually have a career for people. I would say a career, maybe you could. Professional snugglers. You're hired to just snuggle with someone. That's it. So rather than having a body pillow, you're hired to play with the person. You're not obligated to do anything else other than just snuggle. So there's some interesting ones out there. We'll start tomorrow with the videos because there's a series of them. One of them, when I talk to you tomorrow, I'll just tell you how genius it's this one, I believe, right here. The guy that came up with it. Still, every once in a while I hear about jobs and I kick myself that I didn't think of. They're so nice, so good. All right, guys, that is it